Giuliano, very big pleasure to
My
have
pleasure.
you here in Helsinki. This morning, as soon as I heard that you were here, I couldn't miss the opportunity to ask you these three questions I'm going to ask you today.
Wow, you're prepared?
Yes, yes.
Go for it.
So, Giuliano, what is your number one advice for a student aiming for a solo career or a top-tier orchestra?
If it was just one advice, life would be easy.
Only one.
Can I have half an hour silence to think about the answer? Those are two different pairs of shoes.
Let's say one for each.
Yes. For a solo career, you need an extremely complete technique, but it must include very strong personality, very strong creativity, and some degree of virtuosity, I think. Most advanced pieces of repertoire have very high demands also on things as sheer speed, fantastic coordination, tongue articulation, finger coordination, and very high understanding of phrasing, literally high level phrasing, high level management of intonation, and a very high degree of accuracy as well. Being a soloist is a completely different pair of shoes than an orchestral player, because you often play a high focus, high intensity, high technical skills, high pressure pieces during a short time of 15 to 20 minutes on our instrument. Most solo concerti more or less are in that range. So you go on stage, you perform, and you get off stage and you're done. Unless you play long recitals, which are of course again a different pair of shoes. But maybe the number one advice is, first of all, get to witness and meet top soloists, go to recitals, go to concerts, and see people who are already doing it, but literally like subscription chamber music concerts where you pay for a ticket and you go to a fantastic chamber music series or symphony series with top soloists and witness them live. There is nothing like live.
Yeah.
Still today, with the high definition media, there is nothing like seeing the person physically perform live. It's also important because you always see that they are humans, and sometimes things go wrong, but mostly they go very, very well, and it's just very impressive. It's like watching a high level tennis match on TV or watching it live. It's just completely different.
Yeah.
And for orchestral musicians, you must be a freak who loves orchestral music. You have to spend thousands of hours listening to music, being passionate about music, diving deep into different recordings, comparing recordings, criticizing recordings, literally listening and trying to figure out what is good about the recording and what is not ideal, and trying to build your own set of things you consider to be worthy to be followed and not, in terms of style, because style is the most important thing in all of music, is style and taste. So if you don't consume music critically, meaning not like in the background while you do the dishes, but really in a focused way, listen and fall in love with observing acoustically and sometimes visually orchestras performing the great repertoire. Only like this you will be able to form your imaginary VR goggles, which you will have to wear when you do auditions.
Yeah.
Imagination has to mature, takes a much longer time to mature than technique, even though technique already matures very long. So consume music critically, not with distractions.
Yeah.
Really, critically can be positive, but really comment music, be passionate about talking about interpretations, talking about orchestras, why you prefer Vienna over Berlin, over Concertgebouw, over Chicago Symphony, over a number of many others, and what it is in the sound you like, what it is in the phrasing you like, know the players, know the who's who of the symphonic scene, and why you prefer the way certain people do things rather than others. This is the beginning of making choices in your imagination before you even go to your practice room and try to figure out how you can turn your instrumental technique. So in a nutshell, the advice is be passionate about consuming music.
Yeah.
Took me 45 minutes to distill the idea.
But I completely agree. Being really paying a lot of attention on the score, not only the background, and just realizing all of these things. Could you say until at some degree to get a bit obsessed with knowing who are the players, knowing the piece really good inside, the different ways on style that each orchestra uses for the same piece? Do you think is this little obsession you need to have?
A huge obsession. Huge obsession. If you're not obsessed, you probably don't love this matter. You should do something else. I think most people who achieve, who are successful in achieving what they're turning the dreams through, are obsessive. Either you are extremely lucky and you had the best teachers, maybe you come from a musical family, you had the best influences and you met the right people who shortened the time it took you to make good decisions. But that's just a very tiny percentage of musicians. Most of other musicians are just completely obsessed with what we do, just like a mathematician is obsessed with math, and somebody who's exploring black holes is obsessed with gigantic telescopes and algorithms allowing to observe the tiniest details in space. It can be applicable to any profession.
Completely.
If you want to be a biologist, imagine nowadays if you have to do your research, what do you do it about? Most things are already known and there are still so many things to discover, so you have to be completely obsessed, and I think it's something great. I love people who are obsessed, as long as they don't disturb other people just because they love what they do and they want to be really dig deep until they find the solution to realize what they want to realize. That's amazing. I find it so admirable. And apply to music, I think detail is the most important thing. Like realizing that you have to really zoom into the molecular level of music making, of articulation, of vibrato, of taste, of style, of sound, of overtones, of like, it's in the detail that you will find the key of why some people are superior or some players are superior, some music pieces are superior. How you can make the difference is often really about details. So the devil is superficiality. Completely
agree with all you said, actually. Giuliano, what does a typical day in the daily life of Giuliano Sommerhalder looks like, inside and outside of the practice room?
Never 2 days look the same, and I'm very happy about this. My wife hates routine, and I learned to also hate it. So we try to make an effort so we never have 2 copy-paste days in our lives. There has to always be something refreshing, and this also applies to my life as a musician. I don't want to do the same practice routine every day because I'm somebody different every day. I have different amounts of energy, of motivation. Sometimes I'm not motivated to do music. I cook, I do something else. I learned that I'm much more productive practicing when I'm really hungry for practicing or when I'm motivated for practicing. And this is why half a year ago I bought a soundproof cabin, Spanish brand, by the way.
Brand.
Yeah, How's it
We are
called?
not doing promo.
No, so I'm not telling you the brand name. But it's Spanish, so you can do your research. And the CEO is German Spanish, so
Okay.
it's even more, narrowing down even more. But the inner acoustics are fantastic, so it's not a depressing sound booth, sound cabin, soundproof cabin. And this means I finally found an escape room for my impulsive practicing. Sometimes I suddenly become motivated and suddenly want to grab a trumpet and play a piece or do a half an hour of technique. And this allowed me to realize that I'm literally doing at home, doing my daily life like a normal person, and suddenly I want to play a bit, or I start feeling my embouchure shouting to me, hey, sorry, I need a little 45-minute workout, otherwise tomorrow I'll be too weak. And so I can do it. So just to tell you, I'm a very sometimes impulsive or spontaneous practicer. And my daily life looks quite musician normal, meaning I don't get up super early. I get up early enough to have time to have a little breakfast. The first warm-up in the morning is very important to me, not just because of the warming up, but because our system and all the muscle aspects of our system get older and older, and I think it takes more and more discipline in doing the maintenance so they are healthy. And warming up for me is still very important for that, so I don't hurt myself. I make sure that when I start rehearsing in the orchestra, which is very often in a symphony orchestra, is very sometimes heavy material. The tasks are quite heavy on the embouchure, especially on principal trumpet chair. And I want my system to be up and running by then, so I usually go to the symphony hall or to the opera about 40 minutes before the first rehearsal, so I have half an hour, 40 minutes to do a very smooth warm-up routine, which at the same time is simple enough so I can really take care of the quality of the basic substance of my sound production, which mostly when I am not distracted and I do it well gives me enough confidence to make it through the day, believing that I can produce good quality on my instrument. It's literally rebooting the system from scratch every single day. So if in the first half hour of technical preparation I prove myself that most main tasks, main functions of the system are healthy and working well, then I can trust it for the rest of the day usually. And I teach in the Bern Arts University, so it's a significant part of my big drawer in my brain is the teaching part, because differently than in the orchestra. In the orchestra, of course, I have a huge responsibility because I'm playing an instrument which can potentially cause a lot of damage, but can do a lot of good if I do a good job. So my responsibility is not to ruin everybody else's work and to motivate people around me. I think I'm quite strong in understanding how to communicate with every single person, to finding a key in communicating in such a way that I can make them feel safe and comfortable, so we can tackle things we want to improve together as a community. And this is why I'm passionate about orchestra, is literally about finding keys for very healthy leadership based on enthusiasm and motivation rather than criticism and jealousy or tensions inside the orchestra. And it's not always easy because many people come from environments where those things are actually normal, kind of normal. So it takes a bit of time making sure people know that I will never be the one who attacks them on a personal level, but who always, if I come up with a request or a proposal, it's always just for the good of the teamwork and of the collective result. With the teaching, the responsibility goes to literally respecting the fact that young people have put their future in my hands for at least 3 years when it's a bachelor, or 2 years when it's a master, sometimes 5 when it's both together. So they gave me their trust, thinking that I'm the right choice as a teacher to help them achieve their goals and wishes and dreams. And this is a huge responsibility if you take it serious. If you take it as a cash dispenser, it's very easy to teach and not very stressful. But if you care for your students and you respect that they are people who gave you their trust, then it's very tiring, it's very demanding, and it's a lot of work because you literally have to try to find a personalized program for each one of them. And currently I have 8 students in my class. Sometimes it fluctuates between 8 and 10 or even 12. So it's 12 individual caretaking programs for them, to accompany them, of course also to encourage them to become autonomous and self-sufficient, but to try and accompany them on the long term. 3 years feels like it goes by very fast, but it's still a very long time. So a great deal of my everyday occupation is being busy with things related to my students. And a bit of admin. I love cooking. It doesn't look like it, but I'm a real home guy. I love to be at home. I'm with my wife, and we have a fantastic time together, and we do activities together. So I do have a very nice private life, and it's very normal private life of a very healthy and happy couple. And so in that sector, I think I'm rather a standard person, except sometimes then very often I have to go out for shows in the evening and be a professional musician who works in odd hours of the day. And other than that, I'm very much into, lately I'm a little bit into web programming, because I'm trying to build a teaching platform which is mostly about organizing material which is already existing, but in such a way that it's a little bit easier not to get lost in the thousands of books and options.
A lot of information.
We had. Way too much information. It's very easy to be completely confused and not knowing who to follow, which book to follow, which advice to follow, which video influencer, soloist, orchestral player to follow. It's just very confusing and sometimes overwhelming, the amount of information. So I'm trying to just build a vademecum, or a guide of kind of orderly steps where you can go back and forth and in progress, which is sometimes also going back to fix something that doesn't work so well on an underlying level, rather than trying to get crazy by not finding the way out of a challenge.
Making things easier at the end of the day.
I would say just guiding people without knowing them, because if you want to help many people, it will be impossible to dedicate time to each one of them. So preparing a pre-organized sequence of steps you can more or less follow, then of course adapting them to your own needs, but it's kind of a companion, a practicing companion that should be quite helpful.
Without you being there personally.
Yeah, but you know very well, anyone who teaches knows very well that you repeat so many things over and over again, and many of these things should be storable in a storage, in a space where they can be consulted without you having to repeat them over and over again. And actually the ultimate goal of this would be to have to be able to dedicate more lesson time to things which you really need to mass tailor to your students' need, and not stuff which basically apply to pretty much everyone.
Yeah, completely. And this is something I actually have with my own community. I made a community in school, so kind of like a platform of web developing, where I have videos explaining all of these general things for everyone, and then a little tailor for each student. So it's really nice. And leading to the last question, you were talking about the hobbies.
Yes.
Which this is what the last question is about. Was it always just the trumpet in your life, or did you have other hobbies as a student or other careers that you consider pursuing?
No, careers, no, because I started very, very early. I played my first concerts when I was 10 or 11, and the first concert with orchestra when I was 12. And ever since, I've been going in this field, but I did have major doubts whether I wanted to do that for the rest of my life. In some moments, when things were difficult, I had a couple crises, like many people who get too far too soon. And then discover their weaknesses when they are already adults. I think it's quite common, and you find your way out of it. The first hole is the deepest, and then the following ones you're already experienced and recovering from crisis. And I think the biggest success I have now for myself is that I'm much more solid overall. Over the year, I'm much more consistent than when I was 20, which is sometimes you are absolutely a phenomenal top athlete, and sometimes you fail brutally. So sometimes I did consider studying something else. I had one moment in my life in which I just didn't have gigs for 1.5 months. In front of just my schedule was empty for 1.5 months. So I thought I started exploring fiberglass to build cases, and like building molds with plaster, and trying to dig into that and see whether I would maybe do something related to the musician's life, but not being a musician directly. And I still have dreams. I totally love cooking. I love cooking since I'm very small, and it's just getting more and more and more. I'm buying sashimi knives and buying fresh seafood on the market and trying to make a nigiri sushi with sea urchin, and I'm just absolutely into cooking and into food. And sometimes I wish my life was long enough so that after my music career I could open a restaurant with a live theater or with a live chamber music series. Don't know, something in combination between cuisine and music. That is certainly my biggest hobby. But then I love languages. I love communicating. I love traveling. I love flying. I'm very passionate about civil aircraft.
I see.
So I love. I'm very interested in aviation, civil aviation, not military aviation, civil aviation. I could spend hours reading about components of flaps or flight controls and so on. So I just have a big interest, probably as a deformation of traveling a lot. I'm just very, very fascinated by flight in general, and I'm very fascinated by science, although it's not really my hobby, but I'm very, very interested in biology and chemistry and physics. But I cannot say I really don't know much about chemistry. I'm just extremely fascinated, and I try to read a lot about especially biochemistry, which is what my father studied, and I find it equally fascinating because it just goes all the way back to the origins of life, trying to explore how life is possible on Earth, and I find it just absolutely magic. So, but this is more a reading interest than a practical hobby.
Yeah, completely.
And probably I forgot 5 or 6, but
5 or 6 more.
Zones of interest, you know. But it's a very curious person. So.
Giuliano, that was an amazing piece of advice.
Sorry.
Thank you very much.
It was supposed to be 3 minutes, and it took us like 40
That
minutes.
was great. Honestly, that was great, and I really liked how you continue with expanding the questions, because you have so much to give to us, Giuliano, not only with the trumpet, also as a person, and the energy you have. Listening to you now in the masterclass was just amazing. So you are a really big inspiration for all of
Thank
us,
you.
and I'm really happy to have you here in my channel. Follow, guys, Giuliano Sommerhalder in social media. And
which I don't nourish at all, because I'm almost ignoring social media for my mental health.
Really? Okay.
Well, I still have my Facebook account and my Instagram account, but I deliberately took a distance from it because I think it can be overwhelming, it can be depressing,
completely,
and it can be extremely time consuming because it's designed to be addictive.
Yeah, of course.
And we're all starting to notice what the strategy is behind social media and behind its makers. So once you get sorry, I shouldn't tell you that because your channel is on social media.
I don't consume content because I know all of this. I only create the content.
Exactly. And I must say, sometimes I'm sorry that I miss out on so much of the fantastic things that are on social media, because when I open YouTube and I find some interesting channels, I could just spend 5 hours watching every single video on that channel, and you do miss out on stuff, but
there is a lot of not so nice things.
Yes, and it's deliberately built to be lucrative and addictive. So I chose for now to free up a lot of time in my life by trying to consume as little social media as I can. But sometimes I still fall into it, but I became very good at closing it very quickly again. So
that's nice. So guys, go listen to the Swiss Roman.
Yes,
he's gonna be with the
Orchestra de la Suisse Romande is in top shape now, and we have a fantastic mix of people who had experience in great orchestras in other countries and who are now all coming together in Geneva, and we'll probably have a very spectacular lineup of conductors soon from the next season, pretty much, because we're going through a principal conductor change. So stay posted.
You just heard Giuliano Sommerhalder. See you soon, guys.
Bye.